assassin brawl of game number 1 with the 8 melee champions, so they're up 1-0. Let's see what kind of adjustments C9 make here in this one as they choose first pick. Team Liquid choose blue side. Cassio and Vi banned out by TL. C9 banning out Poppy and Nocturne.
Yeah, so C9, I think if they were going to make changes in this series, they would have after a loss, right? You know, I was thinking, hey, maybe they're going to bring someone else in or bring the other two in. And it'll be interesting to see how they do develop with that over the coming weeks. Zig's going to get banned out this time around. Nocturne, which was left up last time, is going to be banned this time. Now I'm thinking about Orianna. I'm thinking about Jace. I'm thinking about champions along those lines. And those are both up. So it feels like there's a potential for a trade there. Syndra also a champion that is very high prio these days. So
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Jace first pick, and then you allow TL to have the Ori potentially or the Syndra, and you can potentially answer with the other. But instead it is going to be Lee Sin taken away because, of course, Jose is just too good on this pick. So makes a lot of sense that they were just going towards it.
Yeah, I mean, we're only one game in to Fearless. Like, best of 3 doesn't really see that same stress on the champion pools that a best of 5 would. Jose's elite. I mean, you said it, man. This is notorious.
He's one of the best in the world.
A global scale. Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just here in North America. This guy is crazy on the champion. If you can play it at all, Blaber's Lee is not legendary, but it's certainly not bad. Blaber can pilot Lee perfectly fine, and denying it from Jose is huge. But that means that we're going to see Jose on the dog. Naafiri locked in alongside that Syndra that you mentioned as a flex pick.
Yep, so Syndra is coming in as a flex. We are seeing it both mid and bot quite a bit these days. It is a champion that is getting a ton of bans as well. Orianna, you know, you can go that route. You also can go towards Ryze. Ryze can become very tanky, early Merc Treads, early Catalyst. It's very difficult for Syndra to burst through that, so would not be surprised at all to see Loki go that direction. Also allows you to play the map, and I feel like when Thanatos is on a carry and you have a mid laner that can move, that is generally a pretty strong recipe for C9, and they're actually going to double down on that with Vulcan grabbing his Bard. Vulcan definitely an incredible Bard player, and now you have not only a strong early ganking jungler, but you have a support that can roam, a mid laner that can roam, and you could potentially set up to get something strong for Thanatos to play and play towards that.
Yeah, Vulcan's Bard is great. I mean, last year, obviously, the big story was always all around Bucio's Bard, but now that he has defected, Vulcan is the #1 Bard. So his Bard, very scary, can make a ton of plays, also kind of affects the map in a way when you were talking about Jace being a potential pick, when you're talking about Ryze being picked here already for C9, playing side lanes becomes much more difficult for the team that's against a Bard.
Yep, so Caitlyn going to get banned out, one of those really strong Bard pairings, something that we've seen a lot of. Going to be curious to see what else they want to look to try to take away here. You know, are they going to be concerned about, you know, traditional AD carries? Sometimes people like to go things, you know, they're less about the pairing with the Bard and more just things that enable the Bard to actually move around the map. You see that sometimes with Mage's Bot. You see that sometimes with things like Sivir as well. Orianna, you know, is a concern here with the pairing of the Rell as well as the Naafiri. We know that they already have Syndra, but again, Syndra could be going bot. So with the potential of that Syndra flex, C9 don't want to give both Syndra and Orianna over. And curious, yeah, what this last ban will be from TL. I'm assuming they're going to continue to attack pairings here for tactical. Obviously, Caitlyn Bard gives you a really dominant 2v2, so that's a lane that they could play towards. But like I said, the other side of that coin is sometimes just champions that allow Bard to move around the map, that can play safe. I think Jhin is both that and can be a pretty decent 2v2. So Jace the last ban. So some of these kind of high prio bans are now hitting the ban table, but not until that second round.
All right, Team Liquid, what do we want to see here? As we definitely have the support, we definitely have a jungler. Those two don't really flex anywhere.
I think they'll go top for sure because you want to show that it's still a potential of a flex, right? So I'm expecting that they go their top laner here. I think you have to be something that is pretty safe blind. You know, I'm thinking about the potential of like a Gnar. I think that could be good, but Vayne is not banned, so that's actually pretty scary. So instead, they're just going to grab their ADC. So they do go Corki. They want to be able to see exactly what it is going to be.
Exactly. This does kind of remove the question marks around the flex possibility on the Syndra. You know it's going mid now, but you preserve the opportunity to counterpick for Morgan. So what does C9 want to go with now, knowing what the enemy bottom lane is, knowing you're up against the Corki Rell?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because the trade-off is, you know, you could be blinding your top lane, but at the same time, now they get to see what your full bot lane is and actually look for an answer. It is going to be Ambessa top, so Morgan will know what he's playing into. Ambessa, you know, the most common answer in pro is Renekton, which was played in game number 1. You can also go for some of the range counter picks. Like you can go, you know, Vayne and champions along those lines as well if you want to play it. But it is always very risky, especially when there is Bard and Ryze. We get some pretty sick posters being shown off here in the crowd.
I'm always jealous of people who can draw, man. I can't even make a circle that's not lumpy. Some people just, they're born with
Viktor
the gift.
bot.
All right.
So it is going to be a
bottom.
mage. So that's kind of one of the other options. You know, I was talking about you can play for dominant 2v2, or you can play either a mage or Sivir or something like that. That basically, it's less about the 2v2 and more be free Bard. Go roam.
Do whatever you want. I'm going to laser the wave.
Exactly. I'm going to laser the wave. I'll be down here. I'll be scaling. And it is really something that is very powerful when you're playing these scaling mages, being able to have the bot lane role quest. There is that Gnar that did eventually come through. We kind of got there. I thought they were going to blind that and then wait for counterpick for bot lane and try to get a winning 2v2, but instead they do decide to go for that last pick Gnar. And it is just kind of like a skill matchup, honestly. You know, generally, as the Ambessa, you are just kind of withstanding the storm, and then you're waiting until gank assist comes and you hit your public execution, you can maybe get a kill.
I feel like this is going to be much more of a standard game of League of Legends compared to game number 1, right? We have ranged champions in mid. Both of the AD carries obviously not going to be replaced with any assassin type of thing. You've got Bard for a ranged support. You've got Gnar, who's kind of like half and half. So not going to be at those weird spots like game number 1. You and I were even talking during the break. Despite the fact that there were some high kills in that first game, it didn't exactly feel like a constant go, go, go type of game because it was really quiet until 8 people needed to die at once in the melee soup, and then it was really quiet.
Exactly, and when you have no range champions, you have no sieging, which is just such a core part of the game, right? Where it's like you can group, you can siege, you can chip away at towers. Can't really do that very effectively with all melee champs here, but going to be exciting to see if C9 can battle back in this game, push us to a game 3 here against TL. C9 with the roster changes, with the changes behind the scenes as well, with the coaching staff coming into play and trying to right the ship, trying to start off summer split here with a win, because they ended losing 6 straight games at the end of last split, missing another international. That is not where they want to be. That is not the expectations of the org. So pressure is on here for C9, playing against another one of these top-of-the-table teams. These are the competitors that you've got to show you can be better than if you want to make Worlds.
But you said it in game number 1, Mr. Azael. This is regular season. This is that comfort zone for C9, and we'll see how comfortable they are feeling, how well they can bounce back after game number 1. Because honestly, game number 1 was really close for a long time. And just by the nature of those compositions, it just kind of comes down to, okay, the first team that really clutches a fight, which was Team Liquid, is just going to take control of it. So for C9, I think you say, all right, we just got to play better. Like, it's not like we have some great dysfunction that cost us the entirety of game 1. Well, and we have to respect the crabs more. That's what you've got to keep in mind, too.
Respect the crabs and respect the lock.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have to be respected. You can disrespect him as much as you want for the rest of the series. He's not here anymore. But speaking of respect, I think Team Liquid earned some respect from some of the other regions here, as they did go 3-0 in their match at like Karmine Corp, that head-to-head, obviously the NA versus EU rivalry. We always love to hype that up. Team Liquid smashed that one. They also smashed the second seed from the LCP. Their only losses were to T1 in that play-in stage, but when your only losses are to the reigning triple world champions, I'm going to give you a little bit more of a pass on that.
Exactly. It's a bit more understandable. T1 in play-ins was always going to be a tough nut to crack, but TL did have some really good competitive games against them too, which was something that really kind of made people very excited. We saw a lot of their members in great form. I think Core was playing some of his best league that he's played in a long time, was really shining. Morgan was unreal at MSI, and I'm really kind of curious to see if he can actually bring that here to the LCS, because while he was not bad by any means in the LCS, he was a really good top laner. He wasn't anywhere near as dominant as he was at MSI. He was just going in and solo killing Kana and Doran like on repeat, it felt like. And this guy, we haven't seen that level of lane dominance from him of late, so want to see if he can really bring that back to NA.
And I feel like so many times when you see teams that look one way domestically, you get to international play and you practically never get the same thing once you go to the bigger stages. You either get the guys where they can't rise to the occasion, they get inside their own heads, they get nervous and they don't play the way they normally do, or they step up, they can see the extra challenge and they rise to that, and it really shows exactly what you're talking about, where Morgan was really putting on world-class performance.
He was, and I think something that's really interesting, you know, having talked to TL and some of their coaching staff, is that because a lot of the players on this team all believe that they have incredibly good teammates, in some ways it kind of like put them in a weird mindset where a lot of the players were all of the mindset that, okay, I'm up like 5 CS, I'm up 7 CS, I won my matchup, I'm doing fine. All right, I don't need to push it anymore because Yeon's going to carry for me, or Morgan's going to carry for me, or Quid will do it. Like, someone else is going to do the thing that wins the game, right? And I think they got into a weird mindset where they were all kind of expecting someone else to carry the game. They're all playing pretty well, but they all came from teams where they had to be the person doing the thing, and then they joined this team that is like this super team.
Wait, I can trust my teammates.
Exactly, and it almost like they trusted their teammates too much, and then everyone stopped trying to be the person that was driving the game forward.
Well, now Quid is under some pressure here in the mid lane. There's your Rune Prison, immediately followed up by the Sonic Wave. Quid knows to not waste the flash on that one. C9 gets paid, and it's Loki counting his money.
Yeah, nicely done there, and that is a really good place to put that money. This matchup, Syndra versus Ryze, can become very difficult very quickly for Syndra when Ryze gets ahead, because you get early Merc Treads, you get early Catalyst, and all of a sudden you just don't have the damage to threaten him.
And that was also after Quid's first TP. So normally that advantage of having teleport in the mid lane against a double mobility summoner spell like Ryze, completely neutralized for this early laning phase, that's going to hurt pretty bad for the Team Liquid mid.
Yeah, that is killer for sure. And that early tier had already been stacking, and you can see that the pieces of Catalyst were purchased up there by Loki. He initially was going to start going towards the Merc Treads, but then did just actually sell that Null Magic Mantle that he purchased up and decided to go for the Catalyst first, which is going to give him a tremendous amount of sustain. Yeon, clearly, you can see by his purchases, he's basically just trying to farm and withstand this matchup. Went with the early Doran's Helm as his start, then picked up a tier, now just going back for some long swords. Basically, his job is just to farm it out and to survive the amount of poke that Tactical can put out here on the Viktor.
All right, Tactical. Obviously, you know, the big moment for Viktor is once you get the upgraded laser, you get the aftershock on it, you're just instantly clearing all the waves, but everything's going to be A-okay for the time being. We do have some support attention towards the mid lane here. The nice part is, for every other support in the game, when you do this kind of just like drive past mid, make sure everything's okay, you don't really get to affect the matchup a whole lot. Bard at least dropping off those hot Cocos. It is about potions, what, like half a potion's worth of HP for a level 1 Coco? So throwing a couple of those in there, you get a free potion for Loki, just drinks them both up, gets a little bit of a top off on the HP.
Yeah, two of them is basically one refillable potion charge. Okay. It's 100 HP for 2, so it's pretty impactful. You know, it's not a full-on health potion, but it is, you know, very, very good. And those little things, you do that a couple times, Bard can be so annoying because the ganks can feel like so trash, but it actually is very effective anyway. You just drive by, proc electrocute, drop some shrines, and you just put them up a couple hundred HP.
Vulcan threw out the Cosmic Binding there, but he only found 2 of the little Josedeodo corn dogs. So that didn't exactly give him the
Jose's babies.
Yeah, but Jose flashes over the wall anyway, so they do get the summoner spell out of the TL jungler. Jose level 6. However, CoreJJ is the first one to make the play. Loki in danger here with the unleashed powers. Josedeodo jumps in, but it's Loki staying alive. Jose knockback underneath the turret. Tries to use the call of the pack to stay alive, but no, it's Vulcan grabbing the kill. The 3v3 in the mid lane favors C9. Vulcan goes in for another Cosmic Binding. Blaber wants to finish off the kill into CoreJJ, but he can't quite get the damage.
Yeah, can't quite finish him off, but still good plays here from Blaber. Another visit here towards mid lane. This time it was TL trying to punish Loki, keep Quid in it. And Loki is able to survive, you know, flashes back, Blaber shows up, and they're able to turn this one around. So they knew Blaber was in the area, but they felt like they're going to be able to go for this. And Core sets it up, Q Flash has the crash down into that scatter, so they hit the full combo. But those heal shrines, the safeguard, the kick to peel as well from Blaber knocks Jose back into the tower. Doesn't have flash, and they take him down.
No, I'm dead, I'm dead. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I mean, that's the cost of him getting caught at the Raptors. If he had Flash, it could have been a different story, and he might have actually been able to disengage from that. But, you know, got caught at the Raptors, was trying to actually eviscerate over the wall, but I guess couldn't find the angle, and maybe tried to go over a part that was too fat on the wall, and ended up having to use his Flash, and C9 gets the punish for that immediately. And now Loki does have those Merc Treads, so it is going to be very, very difficult for them to burst him down.
All right, C9 happy with our first 8 minutes of gameplay, but here, Azael, remember, is where we got the first big battle of game number 1 around the Grubs. Team Liquid right now committing a lot of resources towards this. They have a 4-man potential play around the area. Blaber would potentially like to look at least one Grub, and it looks like Team Liquid will say, all right, that's fine. If you want the one, as long as we get the majority here, we'll step out. We don't want to risk any sort of a fight after. Morgan will just go back to farming up here in the top side. C9 does have priority and control over the top wave, which makes it more risky for TL to try to full commit to the 3 Grubs. So a 2-to-1 split favoring TL.
Yeah, and it's pretty common these days, you know, unless you have full control of the area, you try to rush down one of the Grubs without using Smite, then you try to take the second contested with that Smite, and then you just get out of there because you've now spent your Smite. They have theirs to get the third anyway, so there's not really any point in staying around and actually contesting that. So it's just that trade of the 2 Grubs for 1. TL going to be relatively happy about it, but at the end of the day, not too big of a deal.
Right.
And the big deal right now is just going to be the advantage really in mid. That is the biggest deal for Loki. You know, when he gets going, this Ryze can be very, very difficult to deal with, and it's going to be hard to answer in the side lanes, I think, as well. You know, it's not necessarily an easy 1v1 for Morgan if Loki gets ahead, because they have so much ability to, you know, affect these lanes with Blaber coming over a wall, with Vulcan coming in all of a sudden, and that is going to be the target. It's just going to be tactical, buying time, wave clearing, and allowing them to get out to these side lanes where they can play through Loki and Thanatos. That's eventually what they're looking for.
Plus, with Morgan, like you're saying, being your primary side laner on the Team Liquid side, he has to build steel caps because you're up against Ambessa as your lane opponent and Lee Sin as the enemy jungler, which means you don't have the Mercury Treads for the extra defensive capability and CC reduction against the Ryze. So if Loki pops Ghost and throws you in Rune Prison, you are in jail. You are directly in jail. You are going one place, and that's back to your own fountain with a black and white screen. As C9 starting up the Drake. Here, it's 10 minutes into the game. Over the wall comes Jose and CoreJJ. Want to try to at least turn this into a 50-50 split. Tactical and Vulcan thinking about stopping them here as the Realm Warp is about to arrive. CoreJJ and Josedeodo might be in a little bit of trouble. The gravity field catches CoreJJ. They burst him down immediately. Yeon has made his way over into the fight, though. Blaber wants to try to secure the Drake, and he does do just that. C9, they find themselves a kill, but they've lost their own carry in the process. So a 1-for-1 trade here, but the objective goes to C9.
Yeah, C9 going to be happy about that. I think it was actually the Viktor that got the last hit on the Dragon as both the Smites went down, got incredibly low, and I believe it was Viktor that did finish it off. TL, it just felt like they moved in too early. It's difficult for Corki and for the Syndra to actually join, because look at Quid's positioning here on the side. You see him, and Blaber was kind of threatening to section him off, and then Loki just joins in with the Realm Warp, and at this point, yeah, Yeon does move up and does get in there, is able to actually knock down the Viktor, but Core is gone, and it is a very tough situation there for Jose. That tick of the Arcane Storm from the grave secures that Dragon, and that is really the only thing that makes the difference.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that the from beyond the veil, Arcane Storm ends up getting it, and Vulcan just barely surviving the Unleashed Power, taking him below 100 HP down in the bottom lane at the same time. Tactical getting jumped on. CoreJJ sticks around too long, though. Absorbs one turret shot too many to make it an even trade, as Thanatos nearly killed here in the top lane. Below 100 HP himself, as Morgan is controlling the 1v1.
Yeah, Morgan going to be able to get the push here. He's going to farm some plates off the back of this as well, so that is really nice for TL. And yeah, Core went down, but I feel like from that position with how heated up the tower was, he probably had to. I think if he actually dropped the turret aggro one shot earlier, Yeon is probably dead. So it is better to actually just take that L, fall down, make sure Yeon survives so he can actually fully push that in and get the kill gold.
And Yeon's feeling really good now. 2-0 on the Corki. You've got your Trinity Force. Your Dorian's Helm, honestly, going to continue to give you a lot of value going forward here, too, as CoreJJ makes his way into the mid lane, and yet again, Loki is the target. Flashes out to make sure that TL can't burst him down, but a TP is about to arrive as Thanatos uses the public execution just for the buffer to not get CC'd as he arrives and manages to walk away, but that's a TP and an ulti down for Thanatos just to get punched in the mouth and walk away.
Exactly, and Morgan is still just pushing top, right? Thanatos thought there was going to be a lot more happening there. I think his thought process was they're going to continue to chase Loki, and as they over-engage onto Loki, I'm going to TP him behind them, and I'm gonna roast them. But they just peeled back. They were happy with getting the flash there from Loki, and it does mean that a slight incremental advantage continued to be built on that top side here from Morgan. And he is up about 600 gold at this point, has taken a couple plates off that tower, and is feeling pretty good in this side lane.
Yeah, Yeon and Morgan are the reason why Team Liquid is ahead in gold, despite the fact that C9 leads with 2 kills. So Team Liquid certainly not sweating here in this early game. Only one Drake taken well, not very late, but pretty late first Drake, 10 minutes into the game. Obviously, the grubs were already split like we talked about, but we have an interesting map state coming up soon, since 2 minutes from now, we're going to have the Herald and the next Drake spawning around the same time, as Team Liquid's looking to maybe make a play down here in the bottom lane. CoreJJ with a Hex Flash over the wall, uses the crash down immediately as they full send it after C9, and Vulcan is popped. Yeon goes on a killing spree. All 3 TL kills on the Corki, and they're not done yet. Loki tries to get away, but a beautiful scatter the weak coming out from Quid, and Loki falls too. It is right on point here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, TL really starting to take over on this bot side. I thought it was going to be Loki running away with this game after the early play towards mid. I thought they were going to be able to continue to accelerate that to get him out to the side lanes and have a lot of success there. But TL has just consistently attacked Loki, made his job difficult. And then here, when there is the read on the dive, they just hard engage on the other side away from the tower. The tower is never in range there. Core finds a great angle to lock up Vulcan, push back Blaber, and then Loki here tries to run more about. Look at this scatter, the max range scatter here. Catches him just on the edge. It can get extended when it goes through terrain, and there is an interaction there. So the fact that he actually shot it through the tower, I think may have made the difference, and Quid interrupts Loki. That means his death as well. And just like that, Quid is ahead on gold. Yeon is 4-0, gonna have his second item here done pretty soon. And Blaber on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, Blaber's gonna get hit with the scatter of the week, and yet again, Josedeodo is ready and waiting. CoreJJ is ready and waiting, and Blaber is just punished yet again. Jose looking for even more here. Wants to try to chase a little bit further, but with no Hound's pursuit for the next 5 seconds, has to jump back away. And this play and that bottom lane dive both felt like C9 are saying, okay, we know what they want to do, and TL's just saying, oh, we know that you know. And they just immediately have the counter for the counter ready to go. TL's just playing the fights better.
And it just feels like they always have the extra man, right? Like they're actually showing up with the additional member. C9 had 3 bottom to try to cover that dive. TL sent 4. They have a couple people up here looking to maybe set up a dive to set up an angle, for Blaber. Well, again, multiple members there come from TL and just immediately engage on the disadvantaged C9 member. It was the same thing they did bot, and now Tactical in trouble.
Yep, Hound's pursuit ready to go. I said that Josedeodo needed a couple seconds up there in the top side, and now that he has them, he immediately puts that pressure on the bot side carry from C9. Flash had to be spent from Tactical there as Vulcan very low on HP, and that magical journey leads straight to the burning gates as the unleashed power sends him down, down, down.
And Vulcan's reaction on the player cam, it was head in hands. He looked very frustrated by that death because it wasn't just Tactical's flash that was forced. In that same moment, Vulcan had to flash to get in range for heal and locket to keep him alive. So he had used all of his resources to save Tactical, then gets caught by the scatter and barely does not have enough health to survive. If he had the flash, if he had the heal, if he had the locket, anything, he probably would have lived. But he had to spend it all, and he dies right thereafter.
And this game that was looking good for C9 in those first 8 minutes has now been suplexed by a Team Liquid that seems like they have lost no time in recovering from going to MSI. When we did power rankings, when we had them on the show in waiting room yesterday, I had Lion and TL at 3rd and 4th. One reason for TL is because haha funny meme, but the other reason is because generally the teams that we send to MSI, their summer splits start off more slowly. They have to kind of recover a little bit, get back into the usual groove of things. But it doesn't feel like Team Liquid is missing anything. They seem very clear, very clean, very coherent.
Yeah, I completely agree. And obviously, they didn't play in main stage of MSI, so they had a little bit of time there. But yeah, that is really common because the schedule for LoL eSports is brutal, right? If you're a top team and you qualify for everything, you play in every playoffs, you go to finals, you go to MSI, you go to First Stand, you go to Worlds, your schedule is pretty much all year long. And so, especially with additional events in between that some of the teams are doing as well, you know, the schedule is grueling. And so often after these internationals, the top teams will take it easy for a week or two.
Well, CoreJJ tries to go in for the engage on Tactical, and while the Viktor gets away at the start, he cannot cross the finish line to safety. Team Liquid with the 4-man commit finds the kill on Tactical. The flash, still half the cooldown remaining from the last time they popped that summoner spell with Hound's Pursuit over in the mid lane on that play that cost Vulcan his life, and it just feels like Team Liquid is never slowing down. Yes, Thanatos is going to grab a couple of plates in the tier 2 here in the bottom lane, but TL continues pressuring top and mid at the same time to the tune of a 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they are looking so good, and you said exactly what I wanted to highlight, is the fact that they are punishing these missing resources so incredibly well, time and time again. They go mid, they force the flash on Tactical, they force the flash on the heal on Vulcan, they instantly kill Vulcan because he is missing that heal as well as the locket. Then they go back mid again. As soon as they get those side lanes pushed out, C9 responds and they just collapse on Tactical. He doesn't have his flash, they kill him again. It's just brilliant play here from TL. They're looking so confident.
Okay, a little bit of a whiff there from Core. He goes over the wall with a Hex Flash, can't find the Shattering Strike or the Crash Down, so Vulcan gets away for now. And honestly, if you're Vulcan, you got to be wiping the sweat off your brow from that one, because every time Team Liquid shows up anywhere, you know they've got the firepower behind the lockdown to get the picks.
And one of the scary parts in a game like this when you start falling behind is there's no true tank on C9. Who's supposed to be the one to face check, right? Bard has to keep playing for vision. You need to have someone out there getting wards, and so every time you're showing up to try to ward over a wall or try to place a ward in the brush or clear something out, he knows he might be getting engaged on here. And this was the last regular season match loss for C9. 435 days since they actually lost a regular season match. So not the start that they would be looking for here. Of course, you know, there's so much talk about, you know, their struggles to actually get back to international, but they have been so dominant regionally. And you definitely don't want to lose that because that has been their strength.
Well, for C9, they have got to turn it around here very soon, my friend, because 4,500 gold, 20 minutes into the game, where you don't have any other decided advantages like stacking towards an early soul, is a very, very difficult game state to try to secure the win from. Josedeodo, now also with the Serpent's Fang fully completed as the second item. You're going to get a lot of value out of that. So many of these enemy champions getting a lot of value out of shields, and Jose's just going to cut right through it as Vulcan, again under pressure, again having to spend the flash just to get away.
And while we do go into a little bit of a lull state here, I want to take a moment to talk a bit about Tactical, who, you know, actually maybe we're going to have a fight. I'll wait a moment.
All right, well, we'll give it a moment. Talk about Tactical a little bit after, as Blaber loses half HP. Team Liquid does not want to overcommit to anything. Instead, they're just going to bring the 3-man hit squad over to Yeon, who is in the mid lane, crashing the wave into the tier 2 turret. Get a little bit more damage onto that one. Nearly take the 4th plate, but not quite yet.
And they're looking now for top. They're going to try to find Ryze, but he's backing off, so I think we will be having a little bit of a calm state. And so if you haven't actually been watching Tactical for a while, obviously, this guy came into the league with TL in 2020. He's now getting to, you know, be back in the league playing against his old team. And after his stint on TL, he played for TSM for a while, then he played for Immortals, and then he was out of the LCS. But with Lunacy, he won 2 NACL titles. He didn't even start 2026 on an NACL roster, but then actually came in and was able to help his team win another one to actually turn the ship around when they were struggling, win another NACL title. So he's actually won the last 3 splits in NACL. He's been dominating at the tier 2 level. That is why he is back. That is why he is getting another chance. It is because of his consistent level of performance at the lower level. You know, he has shown that he is the best of the best in tier 2.
Yep.
And so now he has again earned himself a shot here at the tier 1 level to play in the LCS, and it's a shot with a really good team.
Yeah, now though, the problem is that you're up against a really good team. Team Liquid's coordination triumphs yet again, as this time they find the pick on Blaber's Lee Sin. 1, 2, and 2 on that one. Has not been able to find all the playmaking that he would like in this game. Now dead for the next 30 seconds. Team Liquid also took the opportunity to grab the Ocean Drake around the same time. Now again, it's Vulcan in danger. Yeon is right there. Rocket over the wall. Won't quite be able to kill him. Vulcan survives with 100 HP, but C9 can't get anything back.
I mean, this is like a horror game. It's just jump scare after jump scare if you're C9. They try to check any brush, and CoreJJ is in it. And
yeah,
this game, to me, has felt so much about Core and Jose and how much better they are playing than their opposite number. They feel like they are of one mind. They're moving around the map constantly. They're in every bush. They're jumping on the C9 members. And we haven't really been able to see a successful play with Blaber and Vulcan moving around and finding a pick and finding an angle. And the more and more plays that work for TL, the more they take over the vision, the harder it is for C9 to find those angles. And it just feels like the door is closing here very quickly, as Yeon is just miles ahead on 3 items. Quid has already got his Seekers. He's on 2.5. He is just so strong now, too.
Yeah, I was about to say, you want to close the door. How about nailing a board over it there with Seeker's arm guard on the Syndra? Just makes it so impossible to find what you're looking for with these picks, with these engages. Thanatos and Blaber set up for the potential two-man angle as Quid flashes away, and then Chovy belts out of the range of the public execution. Quid staying alive for now, and there's your stasis to keep it going even further. Blaber's going to be taken down first as Josedeodo jumps into the back line, and Thanatos cannot kill Quid. The Syndra stays alive as Team Liquid washes C9 off the map. Quid will finally fall, but at what cost? C9 lose 3 men as the last 2 hobble away.
It can't go much better than that for Quid, man. He played that so well. C9 had a lot of patience there to set up the play, and I thought it was going to work for sure. But Quid, early flash, then rocket belts away from the public execution, and then the timing on the stasis. He stasis the kick flash from Blaber on the animation. He stops him in his tracks. That was beautifully done there from Quid. He shut the door on the play, and he may have shut the door on the game here as C9 nearly 10K behind.
Yeah, it's a 9,000 gold lead, man. I think Team Liquid is just playing better League of Legends today. Let's watch it again.
This was insane. So Quid comes in, early flash, rocket belt to the side, scatter on the Lee Sin. Now watch this. Kick flash, stasis. No, you cannot get me. Blaber is not able to do anything after this. Quid kites back. Yeah, Thanatos eventually kills it, but on the other side, Morgan is crushing them. Yeon is untouched. Thanatos is under the tower with nowhere to go. Does flash in to get one back and get a shutdown, but it is 3 kills going the way of TL. Quid looking very happy about that, and C9 not looking quite as happy about how things are going in this series and in this game.
You saw a little shoulder shrug from Quid because he still died, but the real story is told by the smile on his face the entire time. He knows, like, yeah, sure, I died, whatever, but he knows he played it well enough to just completely smurf on C9 in that one. That 9,000 gold lead is about to find its way towards 5 digits of domination.
And the worst part, when you play against someone and they get an early Seekers and then they use it and it's really effective and they win the fight, is that they often have enough gold to do this. They go back and they buy Azonias. So he instantly has it available again. And you already tried to kick flash him, it failed. You tried to wait and find this play, it failed, and now TL looking unstoppable, pressing that 10K mark.
And they might not have Baron, but again, this is a team that's not limited by everyone being melee like game number 1. Your sieging is much easier. You've got the Corki, you've got the Syndra, you've got the full send with the Rell if you want to. So now that TL have taken the mid lane inhibitor, they're going to look towards bottom side. You can see Morgan getting that wave ready to push up while everybody else remains between the mid and bottom lanes, just trying to find continual harass on C9. You knock any of these C9 players low enough, all of a sudden they can't mount a defense. It's a 2-in-hit game instantly. Morgan transforms into Mega Gnar. That means C9's got to respect it. CoreJJ wants to go in. Public execution coming out from Thanatos, looking to dive into the back line, but the Mega Gnar defensively trying to protect the Team Liquid carries. Thanatos gets himself back away. C9 aren't going to lose anybody, and they find the kill into CoreJJ. Team Liquid finally overplays their hand a little bit, and C9 can stop them.
That was a beautiful outplay there from Thanatos. The public execution was so well timed, not only because it found the backline of TL, but because it immuned the engage from CoreJJ. He instantly reacted to CoreJJ flashing in with the engage there, buffers that perfectly, gets back into the backline of TL and keeps them alive for now. But this is going to be TL moving to Soul Point. Yes, you defended your base at C9. The game will go on, but there's no way you're getting out there and stopping that dragon.
No, that is now Soul Point for TL. Just about 27 minutes into the game, so it's not like it'll be a fast Soul. But when you're up against a team that's 9,000 gold ahead and you can barely ever kill anybody, Ocean Soul kind of just turns that barely into a hell no.
Yep.
Hey guys, time to win. I have 3 quota.
It's time to win.
Time to win. He's got 3 items. Don't look at how many items the other people have.
Nope.
Just focus on the fact that he has 3.
Put your hand over that other side of the monitor.
Don't look at Quid and Yeon.
Yeah, you don't want to look at those guys. Their inventories don't matter. Only your own. As we do have the Spear, the Cleaver, the Eclipse there for Thanatos on the Ambessa. But man, look at those gold differences in jungle, in mid, in bottom lane. 2.5, 1.5, 3,500 gold for Jose, Quid, and Yeon. As Team Liquid is not slowing down. It's 35 seconds until the Baron spawns, so they're just going to make sure these waves are pushed up. They control the enemy jungle. Look at all the wards being placed down. Control wards, normal wards. They want to make sure that if C9 tries to approach this Baron area at all, Team Liquid is ready to spring the trap.
Exactly, and it's just so difficult for C9 because TL can engage on anyone, and it's probably going to be a pretty good fight because everyone is pretty squishy. They're so far ahead. Whereas C9, it feels like you basically have to kill Yeon instantly to have a chance, right? Quid is probably just not going to happen with Rocket Belt, with Zhonya's, with Flash. I feel like Yeon, he's your best shot, but it's going to be very difficult to get there. And if you can do it, maybe you have a chance. But TL just need to start any fight on even numbers, and Yeon now has the Infinity Edge, which means even more important to be able to take him down at the start.
Plus, with those Hex Optics, as soon as he has a single takedown, he'll be fighting from that much further range away. CoreJJ going in here as Tactical does get caught out and exploded there with the unleashed power. Morgan finds the Mega Gnar. He doesn't even need the terrain slam as both the carries on C9 are erased from the rift. And Team Liquid with a 5v3. The Baron is no longer required. Thanatos tries to dive into the back, but now he's immediately got to retreat. He wants to get the kill, but Quid goes golden, and it'll be a trophy for TL here this first best of 3 of Summer Split. We know who the better blue boys are today, and it's Team Liquid with a clean sweep. 2-0, taking down Cloud9.
Back-to-back days, our MSI teams come back, get the job done here. 2-0 for Lion. Yesterday, 2-0 for TL. Today, they were our top 2 teams last split.